Howdy doody, SMB Nation. It's your boy here, TB, coming at you today. Well, we got a little bit to talk about in this here stock market today. God damn, we had a nice little day today to the upside. Looking here at the Nasdaq 100, SP 500, we're just going to jump right into this stuff. We're not going to waste any time today. We got our Microsoft earnings yesterday, and boy, were they not great. I mean, they missed, I believe, or no, they beat on EPS. I think they missed on revenue, barely, but it was really that guidance that came out after the initial little splurge to the upside that Microsoft had yesterday. This is after hours yesterday. We shoot up 5% on Microsoft and then ends up dumping. And then early morning this morning just keeps dumping. We gap down 2% on Microsoft. And what happens if we turn? I hate looking at extended hours. What happens? Oh my God. Buyers just step in. They're just like, all right, Microsoft at a discount. Microsoft makes a 5% intraday move to the upside after those quote unquote rough earnings with a rough guidance. Whole market reacts, of course. The S&P 500, we open down here at 395. We come all the way down to 393. And what does it do? The S&P 500 decides, hey, let's run up almost 2% intraday. What? 2% intraday? Boy, are you kidding me right now? That's crazy. That's just crazy. So if you look at the S&P 500 chart, looking at these big yellow lines, I'll make them nice and big so everyone can see them real nicely. If you're looking at this S&P 500 chart, it's pretty clear what's happening here. We obviously had a megaphone pattern, and you see where we wicked perfectly off of that. And then that confluence, that level right there, we wicked perfectly off that level at 393.60, like perfect. That level was already there. I already had that on my chart. I was like, how do you do that? How can I see the future like that? It's just crazy. It was just perfectly. And then we tap the bottom of this trend line, and we just run straight up. I mean, on high volume, too, on pretty solid volume. Better volume than yesterday by a massive chunk, about 20 million more shares traded yesterday. I mean, this was such a bullish kind of movement. It was impossible to ignore. Impossible to ignore. I imagine so many bears just got trapped right here because there are bears just sitting on the sideline, just drooling to get into puts. And it really says something about the momentum that the market has right now. And in this moment, like this week, the short-term trend is so strong to the upside. The bears had every reason to yank the market down, but they simply could not. There was simply not enough oomph in their push down. I mean, you get a 1.5% gap down on the S&P 500. Not only do you go to fill that gap, you end up just going higher and higher, closing above 400 on the S&P 500. I mean, just a very strong bullish move to the upside. And that's what I mean when I say just because the market goes up, it doesn't mean it's bullish. It can go straight up and then the next day come straight back down. That's not bullish. But when you have moves like this, where you get news that is interpreted by the market as negative, like Microsoft, that guidance they got, when you get news like that, that's usually when the bears like jump in, they pile in, they just sell, push it down, but not today. It petered out. It was just a big bear trap, huge bear trap, and it just goes straight up on high volume. Like, look at this volume down here, just big volume, push, buy, just crazy. So even though technically on the day the Nasdaq was red, the fact that the Nasdaq opens 2.5% down, it gaps down 2.5%, and it just goes straight up. Intraday move almost of 2.5% to close barely down 0.2% on the day. Also on very high volume. I mean, just crazy. Just insane. Bears are just getting squeezed out there. It's impossible to ignore. That's why I've been saying in my videos, I've been saying, hey, don't get too bullish too soon, but also don't just be shorting up here because you're getting I mean, bears just got creamed today. They got freaking creamed. You see this gap down, and then for the first half an hour of the day, we gap down and we continue to sell down. We sold down another 0.5%. How many people are just loading puts right there? Just like, all right, that's it. Rally's over, load puts. And then they just got squeezed, just straight up. So that was a very huge development today, because I say the opposite all the time. I have to be consistent because I remember saying back on the 13th of December, this CPI day. Look at the daily. I remember saying back here when we got that CPI report, that was like the best CPI report ever. You know, inflation was way lower than everyone thought it was going to be. I said, well, we gapped straight up, but then we just sold off a shit ton. I mean, we closed up 1% on the Nasdaq, but that is not a bullish day when you do that. That is not bullish whatsoever when you have a massive gap up and then all you do is sell off. Just it drops just massive amounts. I mean, sold off, oh my God, like 1.5% in an hour, another 1.5% the next hour. That is why I was like very bearish after that, because that kind of intraday move really tells you where the momentum is about to swing towards. And that to me was like so obvious, like, damn, this CPI report's not as bullish as everyone thinks. And the fact that we just gap up and just did nothing but sold all day. So I have to say the same for today. The fact that we gapped down, it did nothing but bought and just ripped bears apart today is incredibly noteworthy. In my honest opinion, I think you're kidding yourself if you say otherwise, because I mean, in general, I do not think the market is bottom, but I can't sit here and be like, yep, this is just a big old fake bull trap. You're getting screwed. Because you see stuff like this and it's just like, damn, that's impressive. That is, it really shows that the bulls are not messing around this time around. So let's take a look at Amazon. Full transparency, I usually like to share most of my positions. I took a call on Amazon, $100 call for next week on Amazon. In my opinion, Amazon has not rallied nearly as much. So that's kind of what I like to do when we get these kind of rallies. I mean, you look at NVIDIA. You look at NVIDIA, and it's rallied like 40% over the span of like a week and a half. You got to be a little crazy to be buying calls up here on NVIDIA. It can work to the upside, but in my opinion, that is just you're chasing way too hard on that. I don't think NVIDIA is going to come down, but I just don't know how much gas is left in the tank in this rally for NVIDIA to the upside, because we are running right into that big resistance on NVIDIA. But you look at Amazon, and Amazon looks very good for a couple reasons. First reason, we are obviously have a nice bull flag, a nice channel on the top of this push that we bounced off of right there perfectly. And where do we bounce today? Ooh, boom, right off the bottom of that. How about that? And now look at that. We are testing it for the third time, also on incredibly high volume for Amazon. Look at that uptick in volume. Yesterday, 66 million. Today, 93 million. And it was basically just all buying. Just all buying. Look at this half an hour chart. Just green candle, green candle, green candle, higher volume. Just crazy. So much buying on Amazon. The hourly, I mean, the hourly is even more shocking. Just like, holy shit, just endless buying. Very high volume on Amazon. I like it. I think it's going to break this bull trap. I like it too. That is what I'm seeing. And my target to the upside on Amazon is clearly $100. That's my strike. But if you look at where we've rejected in the past, we are really going to run into the supply zone. I imagine sellers are still waiting up here. You saw what happened at $99 for Amazon. It immediately rejected that. So we're going to have to, it's going to be a little painful trying to break through that on Amazon. I don't imagine it's just going to cut straight through it, but I like it to cut straight through it if it's coming out of this perfect consolidation, bullish consolidation pattern on very high volume, which is exactly what we got today. So it just checks a lot of the boxes that you want to look for. You're getting consolidation. You're getting really high volume. You're getting very clearly there are chances where bears could be ripping this thing down, but the bulls are like, just nah, that ain't happening, sis, not today. So it checks a lot of the boxes in my opinion. It's only bounced like off its low of 81. I mean, it's bounced about like 20%, but in my opinion, I think earnings are going to be better than people are expecting. And I feel like right now the market's so bullish that even not great earnings is just not that big of a deal. We just saw that today with Microsoft. I mean, those earnings weren't great, and it very well could have been enough to yank the market back down, but the market just like, nah, not today. Not today. And now, mind you, this can all change in a friggin' split second. We get bad news. Powell come out and say, hey, I'm jacking interest rates up twice as high. You know, anything can happen. You got to be quick on your feet, this kind of thing. But right in this moment, I'm feeling very bullish because of today's intraday price movement. So I like Amazon to the upside. And I think if Amazon fails to find any support, if it does get a pullback, I see this level. This level's super clear right here to me. Bam. Look at that level. Look at that. It looks so perfect right there. If we were to pull back on Amazon, and lose $96, I think that's where I would stop out, because then it would be clear to me that we're just going to tap this trend line and then come back down to this one, or at least shoot back down to maybe $94. But this is only, I got 9 days on this contract. This is not a long-term contract. This is just, I think right now Amazon is about to break out to the upside. But with all that said, I'm still holding Squarespace, Block, I should say. I forgot it's Block now. Block did the same thing as the rest of the market. Just a super strong intraday, like massive from the bottom to the top, 8% intraday move, even though it's still technically closed red. Just that like crazy buying is just so notable. It's impossible to ignore on a very, very freaking high volume. Look how high that volume is, even higher, 17 million shares, even higher than this one we had over here. It just, there ain't no beating that. So now it's clear on Square where this was support, this little red box here, or I mean, this was resistance. This has now become support. You can see that once we immediately went down there, looking at the 5-minute, fix my chart. We went down there and just buy. Look at this crazy volume, just buyers, buyers, buyers. Send it. It's gone. It's gone. And then we have this nice little trend line we broke. Just everything looks so good to the upside right now. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. It's a little freaky. I don't know really how to, well, I don't know what to do with my hands. It's scaring me. But anyways, looking at Tesla. Tesla had their earnings right now, and it's a very, very mixed bag. They beat on revenue, beat on EPS, I believe, but I think everyone's waiting for the guidance for Elon to get to that. Elon is known for just completely cooking up his earnings reports. Not cooking up like the numbers, but like the way he talks about him on the conference call. He is like known for being like amazing when it comes to making really bad news actually sound like good news kind of thing. He's really good at twisting the words, and I think he's probably going to do that. But right now, Tesla is basically sideways, which is hilarious because options contracts were pricing in like a shit, man. I think like a 15% move on Tesla. And what are we going to get? We're going to get literally nothing. At least that's what it looks like right now. Which is kind of funny because everyone who bought calls is getting roasted. Everyone who got puts is getting roasted. No one wins. The market makers win. And that's the way she goes. But what about Apple? So Apple, same idea. I mean, just same idea. It just did the same thing. It pulled back 138. Their support at 138. And it rips up 2.5% intraday. Just ridiculous. Actually ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what to say. Usually when you're this close to resistance, when you zoom out and you're like this close to a resistance and the market has any reason to pull back, usually it's like so difficult for the bulls to hold on and not just completely let the bears rip the whole thing down. So it's got to be noted. Everything, all this stuff has to be noted. Microsoft, same thing, just crazy. It closed down about 0.5%, but that's a remarkable. It was at its lowest at 231, and you could see where it pulled back. It just pulled back to that previous low it had, so it just put in a higher low right there. Just crazy, man. Just wow, bulls are out. They be out here, and now Meta is doing exactly what I kind of expected it to do once it got to this point, which was definitely hit a bit of a wall and do a little curling down. But we're still getting really high volume on Meta, just super high volume on all this buying. I mean, geez Louise, Meta looks good. Running up to its 200-day moving average, but we have a lot of sellers in this little zone right here. Lots of sellers still waiting there. We haven't tested that in a very long time, and that is where the sellers stepped in and really yanked it towards its next leg down. So that is going to be a big test for Meta to get above about 147.60. Once it does, it's going to have to get above 160 and then big gap to the upside. But you have to start thinking, all right, we're at make it or break it right now for the bulls. So you have to kind of consider that the bears know that if they let the market get up above like 296 on the Nasdaq, if they let the S&P get above 410, that they're not looking good. So they're going to start throwing everything they got at you. And that is just a fact. So we could get a weird red day, a nice sideways day. Who knows? We need some consolidation, but you can't expect the bears are just going to give up on this downtrend that easily. You gotta expect they might step in here a little bit, which they tried to today, but it didn't work. So who knows, man? But either way, stuff looks good to the upside. I mean, you can't go short right now. You literally cannot go short. To go short right now, you're just like pissing away your money, unless you're like thinking some black swan event comes out. But so we got to talk about the Fed meeting coming up February 1st. That's massive. It's going to be all eyes on that. We could see some choppiness into the end of this week with that ahead, because the market is just going to be all eyes on that. That's going to be literally the only thing that it cares about is going to be that FOMC meeting. Earnings and everything is nice, but it's all about what the Fed is going to do. So I'd like to see a breakout on the S&P before that. If we get above 410 on the S&P before that happens, that'd be fantastic, because if we are below that, then I'm just going to be like, oh, they're going to dump it. They're going to dump it. The Fed's going to come out and be like, no, we want to go higher than we thought. They're going to somehow, some way dump it, and I'm really not looking forward to that unless the S&P can reclaim that 410, or at least reclaim 405 at the very least, 405.50. Because if we don't do that, then I am very concerned for the future when it comes to this FOMC meeting, because yeah, that's the only thing that could end this entire thing. That's the only thing that could kill this whole rally, is Powell coming out and saying something that the market was not anticipating. That is the whole reason for this rally, is that we're like, yep, everything's priced in. The 25 basis points hike, that's priced in. If he comes out and does 50, goodbye. Market is going to dump. He's not going to do that. At least people don't think he will. I personally think he should, because why wouldn't he? What part of the economy is suffering right now? Like, where's the pain? The housing market is still, houses are still way overpriced. Nobody's losing their jobs. Everyone's still getting raises. Everyone's still buying shit. Everyone's still traveling. Demand has come down a little bit, but inflation is still double what their target range is. I just don't see any reason, but just because I don't agree with the Fed, they don't give a shit. These people are way smarter than I am. But it's just like, on paper, what are they so scared of? Like, unemployment is at all-time lows. There's no pain in this economy. This is the weakest recession ever, and they're like scared that they're going to cause too much pain. And it's like, you haven't even caused any pain. Where's the pain? The earnings has come down a little bit, but like the pain to the common person is just like, it's not there. It ain't. It's just weird. No one's lost their jobs. Like, that's strange. That's strange to me, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. But the economy is just like, nah, it's too strong, baby. So that's neither here nor there. Doesn't matter what I think. But I'm going to ask you to do two things. One would be to drop a like. Second thing would be to drop a sub if you enjoy the video. I am definitely going to be looking forward at more earnings. I know tomorrow we have Apple earnings. That's huge tomorrow. And then we have Visa earnings, also huge. MasterCard beforehand. Visa and Apple are going to be huge. Visa shows a lot about the consumer. Apple shows a lot about everything, because they're the biggest company ever. So that's going to be huge tomorrow, with just a lot of big things happening this week. It's a crazy week. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And I hope you hit that sub, hit the bell, get the notifications. Every time I upload, I imply that. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.